the Jos Correctional Center where the attack happened yesterday. And the incident was that there were so many gunshots and people were running helter-skelter. And it was believed that so many people escaped from the prison. Some prisoners were released, as a matter of fact. That's the reports we got. And it was also said that some of the government were trapped inside the prison. However, Trust TV came here to ascertain all that has happened, and what we gathered is that the issue is under control, that is being investigated, and no serious reason has been given or serious things have been let out for us to know the situation of things. But people are not willing to talk. Even the officials are not willing to say anything. But however, the deputy governor was here this morning. He came as well to ascertain what has happened. He has refused to say anything. So all of this is still enshrouded in some kind of confusion. The police barracks is nearby and the DSS is just behind there. And with that, an attack can happen in such an environment. There are so many questions than answers. Things are still unfolding, and as it unfolds, we'll still give to the public what is going on.
You see, as a journalist, they keep telling you every day that measures have been taken, will nip the problem, build this and that. But I must confess, the more they roll out the measures towards curtailing these attacks, the more they attacks. And one begin to wonder, what are the measures are they taking that this thing cannot go down, rather it keeps growing? Yeah, because from between 2016 to date, if I tell you that over 500 communities have been affected, yes, you know, more than close to 1 million people now, because the entire Zone B had about 9 local government, predominantly farmers, because Zone B constitute about 70% of the food requirement of the state. These people cannot go to farm today. They cannot go to farm today. In fact, even sleep and wake up is a problem there. So, and government keeps telling you, we are doing something. We'll do this today. We'll do this tomorrow. We have come out with a strategy. We don't want to disclose this strategy. What are the strategies you have been coming out with since 2016, when did something, the escalation of this banditry, started, and that we've not been able to see any positive results?
Katsina State, which is having its share of banditry and kidnappings, is currently coping with survivors of the attacks who sustained various degrees of injuries from gunshots. Besides rendering them homeless, the survivors lost all they have, with majority of them resorting to begging on the streets of major towns and cities across the state. The chairman Network for Justice in Katsina State, Alhaji Abdullahi Hassan, described the situation as pathetic.
We have been monitoring the activities. In fact, initially, when this banditry starts to get out of hand, we were recording all the incidences. When I say incidences, is whenever we hear of a report of banditry attack, we try to reach our people who are there to give us a record of maybe the items that have been rustled, like the cows, the sheep, goats, and other things. And we also take record of people that might have been killed, men and women, and as well as women that might have been raped, and all these kind of things.
When Trust Television visited Federal Medical Center Katsina, it spotted some survivors of the attacks on admission receiving medical attention. Among them is this 7-year-old Ahmad Noura, whose father was shot dead, and Muawiyah Gorjo from Matazu local government, as well as a 25-year-old Yunus Abdullahi from Yangaya village, and Ahmad Rufai Mununu, a 55-year-old from Batsari and Faskari local governments. While trying to evacuate our farm produce, the bandits came in large number with guns shooting sporadically. I was shot with a gun. My father was killed by bandits. The bandits came to our village and started shooting in the air. We all ran for our dear lives and left our shops opened. Some minutes later, we came out thinking that the bandits have left. Unknown to us, they started shooting again. One of the bullets hit me on the leg. As at the time of compiling this report, 32 survivors with gunshots were receiving treatment, while 6 were discharged from the hospital. However, with the intervention of Katsina State government, the survivors had their medical bills settled to cushion their hardships.
We are coping with them because many of them, they don't have money when they come. Number one, they don't even have money to eat, not to talk of to put inside the wallet. Yes, here.
Alhaji Bishru Haya is in charge of billing unit, Federal Medical Center, Katsina.
At the end of our discussion, we come to understand that the state government is ready to help and take care of the medical bills of those victims that were admitted in this hospital. So at the end of the day, they raised the 2 million naira cash and asked to start with in order to take care of the medical bills of those victims that were here on admission.
Responding to criticisms that the survivors of the bandits' attacks at the FMC Katsina were left unattended to, the medical director, Dr. Suleiman Bello Muhammad, has this to say.
As has been mandated by the federal government through the Federal Ministry of Health, we do not reject patients, and we use the resources at hand available to us to provide service and whatever is needed to make sure that we minimize morbidity and ensure that death do not happen or reduce the suffering of these patients.
One miracle people of the 11 frontline local government areas are anxious to see is when they will sleep with their 2 eyes closed, as various stakeholders continue to join hands together to achieve the set objective. From Katsina, Abdullahi Ismayamadi reporting for Trust Television News.
The Nigerian Army has reaffirmed the importance of collaboration with other security operatives in addressing security challenges across the country. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Faruk Yahya, made this known during a courtesy visit to Governor Muhammadu Inuwa of Gombe State on Monday.
I want to assure His Excellency of all the things we also discussed somewhere there. We will also take necessary action. Is our effort to synergize with all stakeholders so that together we can improve the situation. Security is everyone's business. We all have our roles and responsibilities. On our part, we will continue to improve what we do and synergize with other services, other security agencies and the stakeholders and people of authority. I once again appreciate and thank you, Your Excellency, for all that you have given to us.
Responding, Governor Muhammadu Inuwa urged the Chief of Army Staff to redouble effort as he promised to continue supporting the Nigerian Army.
I want to seize this opportunity to once again ask the Chief to see to a quick and easy movement of the barracks from this location to its permanent location. And we spoke at length on that issue inside, but at least it will be good for him also to know that much as they are making effort, a lot also has to come from the state government, and we shall do so, because I believe by the time you move out there with full facilities, maybe it will turn to be a brigade and no more an artillery regiment.
This is the first time Lieutenant General Faruk Yahya is visiting Gombe as the 22nd Chief of Army Staff after his appointment earlier this year by President Muhammadu Buhari. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail for Trust TV.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
It is known as Power State. But despite this title, many communities still do not have sufficient power supply. Driving through Paikoro local government area in Niger State, you can see electric poles, solar panels and power generators. This is evidence that power supply in Paikoro is unstable. Abubakar Adamu, a grinding miller, narrates his audio.
Marabinmu da mu ce ga mu mun samu wuta 24 hours. Gaskiya an ja lokaci. Lokaci za mu same ta awa 2, wani lokaci awa 3 ne. Kuma an wuce wurin. Sai dare. To da dare wa zai kawo maka abin da zaka ci? Ga nauyi akan ka. Saboda mi kuma ba ta yiwa ne saboda doka ne. In wata ya kare kuma dole za mu biya kuɗi ne. To ba sai an bar mana wutan za mu samu kuɗin sannan mu biya. Wani lokaci dole haƙuri muke yi a zo a yanke mana wutan sai mun samu mu yi buga mu samu mu biya kuma saboda me abincinmu ne babu wanda za mu yi fushi da abin. Tidina wani lokaci sai an tara min aiki na fara aikin ina cikin yin aikin nan ga kowa na son ya samu dan abin da zai sa a bakinsa saboda me waye ne ke cin towa mu ne talaka wallahi muna cikin yin wannan al'amarin sai ga an doke wutar a ƙasar mu a Afirka mu ne uwa fa mu ne uwa sai dai ki je ki ba wata ƙasa nonon mu kuma mu kwana da yunwan zai yiwu ƙasa 6 Najeriya ke ba wuta ba su da matsalar wuta sai mu muke da matsalar wuta kuma mu ne fawa neja
kamar da ke gani yanzu presently ba wuta a wannan angon kuma an ɗauke wannan wutan ne tun jiya da dare misalin karfe 10 da 'yan mintoci haka suka ɗauke kuma har yanzu ba kawo ba to kuma ba lalle bane za a kawo wannan wutan kila ma sai yamma kuma an kawo da yamma in yayi lasting yayi awa 1 da minti 10 shikenan an ɗauke kuma kenan cikin dare kuma za a sake kawo kamar na awa 1 shikenan sai gobe kuma a magana wuta generally gaskiya ana faɗi wayansu da dama ma suna sana'a da wuta kuma sun daina yanzu saboda rashin tsayawa wutan wayansu sun siya fridge sun kwashe kuma sun sayar magungun an siya wayansu garuruka an tafi da su saboda rashin wuta
a kira ma gwamnati wannan jiha zuwa wannan ƙasa ta kwatanta adalci ma mutanen Faiko domin mu ma mu san muna cikin ƙasa.
I visited the Shiroro hydropower plant, but was denied access by security operatives and the dam officials, stating insecurity in the area as a factor. I'm standing over the dam purported to generate over 600 megawatts of power. The power plant is valued at about $111 million US. The federal government of Nigeria, through the Bureau of Public Enterprise, authorized the concession of the Shiroro Hydroelectric PLC for the generation, operation and activities of Power Holding Company of Nigeria PLC at the power station, to restore the total availability capacity of the 2 plants and increase power generation significantly within Nigeria. According to the Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission, the reasons for the shortfall in generation can be attributed to the inadequate fuel supply to thermal plants, which constitutes over 80% of the installed capacity, hydrological factors for hydropower stations, maintenance outages at power plants, and transmission and distribution outages.
This is Gomo, a small community of about 10,000 people in Sumaila local government area of Kano State. This town is about 130 kilometers drive from Kano and only 2 kilometers to Bauchi State. But life here is terrible.
Kun ga yadda wannan gari namu yake, muna iyaka da jihar Bauchi don tsakaninmu da su kawai kilomita 2 ne.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
The struggle for human rights in Nigeria have been a long one, arduous and continues till this day. The report examines human rights conditions in Nigeria since 1999 and compares them to the constitutional guarantees and international human rights standards. The research divides human rights violation into 4 categories: unlawful detention, torture, extrajudicial killings, freedom of assembly, and freedom of expression, and the press.
Well, first and foremost, there has been a gradual closing of civic spaces and a constriction of civil liberties in the country, including restrictions on media freedom and independence. Secondly, we have seen, despite the best efforts of the election management authorities, a continued assault on electoral integrity in the country, and therefore the struggle to make votes count and to make votes to matter remains a live one, which we are dealing with. Thirdly, has been a significant social and developmental deficit in our experience of democratization so far. A lot of emphasis has been placed on the mechanics and forms of democratic governance, but without underpinning any of them with an agenda of citizen empowerment in a way that can be pursued through social policy of a universal kind, or indeed a broader developmental agenda of the kind that can generate employment and income for the teeming army of the youth who are unemployed, but also the working poor who are driven deeper into poverty and misery on a day-to-day basis.
There were also recommendations from the Center for Democracy and Development.
The best antidote at every point in time is more democracy, till democracy itself become very, very developed and firmly rooted in this country. 22 years is enough time for Nigerians to start feeling the real dividend of democracy, and the political class will have to make a choice to redefine democracy in light of what is happening in our own neighboring West African countries.
Thank you very much. The Democracy Watch report that was compiled and launched by the Center for Democracy and Development is an opportunity for reflection on how Nigeria will be in the next 20 years in terms of good governance and how we can achieve it. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
With a combined capacity to produce about 600,000 barrels of crude oil per day, Nigeria's 4 refineries are now maribound, with the exception of the Warri refinery, which operates at less than 30% installed capacity. Ironically, as the 6th largest producer of crude oil in the world, Nigeria is also the net importer of refined petroleum products.
We cannot continue to keep quiet when public taxpayers' money are simply being wasted or even stolen in the name of, repairing refineries. Well, at the same time, you are now privatizing these refineries.
The nation's oil company, the NNPC, saddled with the responsibility of managing the refineries, says within 5 years, it has expended over ₦1 trillion for the rehabilitation of pipelines and refineries in the country.
If you are spending this much and you are, privatizing these refineries, are you not shortchanging the country? Because the people that are going to buy this, after we have spent that huge amount of money, they would have just taken something almost free.
Renovating the refineries that don't produce anything. I mean, not just, like you said, not just Kaduna or the Port Harcourt. I think all the 3 refineries are not in produce now. They don't produce 1 drop.
Rehabilitation of Warri refinery alone is costing the oil-rich nation $1.5 billion. Yet, the country spent 1.8 trillion naira this year to sustain a controversial oil subsidy regime.
Because it didn't add up, and it shows that government is really not serious. If you are replacing 1.8 trillion with 2.4 trillion, it doesn't show that people are thinking in government.
Before even talking about the money, who are the people that are going to benefit from this? It's a question that we need to ask ourselves. We don't have a central data pool that says these are the amount or these are the number of Nigerians.
The Petroleum Industry Act PIA, currently activated, is expected to bring to bear sustainable reforms in the oil and gas sector while guaranteeing transparency and efficiency. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
With the rising cost of essential commodities and other items across Nigeria, consumers tend to look for cheaper items in order to be able to afford them, such as food, furniture, electronics, and other such items for everyday use. And in Kebbi State, Kalgo Market, which is referred to as Dubai Market, suits the description where people can buy much with little money. The Dubai Market in Kalgo is a melting pot where people can buy state-of-the-art electronics such as players, television sets, mobile phones, beds, mattresses, bicycles at a cheaper rate than other conventional markets. Every item you see in Kalgo come in 2 categories, tested and no testing. The tested are items in good working conditions that can be utilized after sales. But the no testing are items a buyer purchases at his or her peril with a 50-50 chance of working or not. This is the only market in Kebbi State where customers can buy a laptop computer for as little as 5,000 naira, while mobile phones can be purchased as from 2,500 naira upwards. And Kalgo, being a university town with students coming from all over the country to study at the Federal University Birnin Kebbi, it has more or less become a haven for students trying to strike a fast deal, particularly in mobile phones, laptops, or food items.
I see Kalgo Market as a place where it is meant for
for the poor. You buy things at a convenient price. For example, when you have like 300 or 400 naira, you can prepare food. You buy tomato, 50 naira, atarugu, and the like of others. Then secondly, looking at the electronic appliances, people in Kalgo used to come with second-hand things and sell, as well as clothes. So things are more cheaper, and people looking at the economic situation of Nigeria in general, you prefer buying second-hand things because they are more reliable.
Price of some food items, other items are low, very high. If you buy something from Caribou market and compare it from what you have bought from the KB Central Market, you see difference in price.
The Kalgo market also attracts other young men and women who normally come to buy second-hand designer clothing, which in other markets could cost them a fortune, but in Kalgo would be a pushover. The attraction to visit Kalgo market is not limited to students or other young people alone, as the market attracts housewives and other category of people. The hustle and bustle at the Kalgo Dubai market has earned it a reputation and a name that every customer identifies with, getting the best deal for so little money. Hamza Galadi Mazuru, Trust TV News from Kebbi State, Nigeria.
World Bank says the Nigerian government's exchange rate management policies are discouraging investments and fueling inflation in the country. The bank disclosed this in the November edition of its Nigeria Development Update. While highlighting the role of the Central Bank of Nigeria in exchange rate stability, the World Bank said there had been intense pressure on the Naira, with the CBN constantly raising the nominal official exchange rate. The bank added that the CBN's foreign exchange management system is too rigid, with the system driving inflation in the country. Managing Director Just Electricity Distribution Hashim Bakori says postpaid customers across the company's franchise states of Bauchi, Benue, Gombe and Plateau are indebted to the company to the tune of 115 billion naira. Bakori made this disclosure at the launch of the company's 5-year corporate strategic plan to kickstart a new goal to be achieved by the company at Alien Event Center, Rayfield, Jos. The managing director said the debt has greatly impinged on the operations of the company, stressing that the postpaid customers' debts were different from the cost of energy losses as a result of energy theft. The planned technical audit of Ajaokuta Steel Company would be completed in the first quarter of 2022. Minister of Mines and Steel Development Olamilekan Adegbite disclosed this during a webinar organized by the Lagos Business School. Adegbite, who gave an insight into the move to resuscitate the moribund Ajaokuta Steel Company, said the Russians had agreed to conduct the technical audit, saying they are being expected in the country by January next year. The minister explained that the audit would have started in March 2020 as agreed by the Russian technical partners, but it was stalled due to the outbreak of the COVID-19. Nigerian Communication Commission has commenced sensitization campaigns to stamp out subscriber identity model swaps and unstructured supplementary service data e-payment frauds in a bid to check cyber threats in the telecom industry. NCC's Deputy Director, Consumer Bureau, Efosa Idehen, stated this in Benin City during an advocacy and sensitization program titled Shine Your Eye, No Fall Mugu, said the move is to end electronic fraud in the telecom industry. Represented by the head of Consumer Protection and Advocacy, Clement Omife, said the sensitization became necessary due to the growing concern over the rising trend of fraud perpetuated on telecom platforms across the key sectors of the Nigerian economy.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Iran and world powers party to its 2015 nuclear deal have begun long-awaited talks in Vienna to restore the pact, which the United States abandoned 3 years ago. Representatives of Iran, China, France, Germany, Russia and the United Kingdom convened in Austrian capital on Monday. Messages will relate to American representatives as Iran again refused to hold direct talks since the United States is no longer a member of the accord. Participants agreed on a general roadmap for the future of the negotiations, which are a continuation of 6 rounds of talks that paused in June to allow Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi to form his administration. If successful, the talks will lift unilateral U.S. sanctions while scaling back Iran's nuclear program. International aid organizations and experts say the U.S.-led sanctions on the Taliban government are hurting the Afghan people and called for explicit humanitarian exemptions for the delivery of aid to prevent a catastrophe. Following the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan on August 15, the aid-dependent country was cut off from international financial institutions, while nearly $10 billion of its assets are frozen by the United States, triggering a banking crisis. United Nations and other aid agencies are trying to navigate the sanctions to deliver much-needed aid to the country, with more than half of Afghanistan's 38 million population facing imminent food shortages in the harsh winter months. President Xi Jinping has said China will offer another 1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines to African countries and will encourage Chinese companies to invest no less than $10 billion in Africa across the next 3 years. Xi's promise comes as part of a forum between China and African states with an emphasis on trade and security held in the city of Diamniadio near Senegal's seaside capital Dakar. The pledge of additional vaccine doses on top of nearly 200 million that China has already supplied to the continent comes as concerns intensify about the spread of a new variant of the coronavirus known as Omicron, which was first identified in southern Africa. Protesters across Beirut, Tripoli, Saida and other cities closed highways and intersections on Monday morning with their vehicles and put tires and rubbish dumpsters on fire. They are calling on the government to control the plunging Lebanese pound, which for the past week has hovered at about 25,000 to the US dollar. The pound has lost about 90% of its value in 2 years. Lebanese army was able to clear some closed intersections and thoroughfares. However, in Sport City, just south of Beirut, protesters doused the highway with petrol so cars could not drive through, even if the army cleared the roadblock. Over the past month, Lebanese authorities have increased petrol prices weekly as they continue to lift subsidies. They also partially lifted medicine subsidies, which increased the prices of several medications for chronic illnesses and mental health issues.